Why were you deplatformed?
I was deplatformed because, yeah, people misrepresent my views and say that, because I had this opinion last year that I wanted to perhaps like consider reducing the age of consent for children.
Right.
And for having...
When we say children, I think we should be specific.
Exactly.
I think you mean teenagers, don't you?
Sure.
Yeah.
And
I don't think you mean like 5-year-olds or something, do you? Or do you? You might.
Tell
me what your opinion is.
Now that's like... Now you see, I think that like 14, 13-year-olds, if they decide to have sex with adults, like it should be fine. And many people have done it secretly. And that should be fine. Now in terms of, and I think that's completely reasonable.
Well, it's controversial because people have a kind of mental block in their minds when they talk about this. You know, that sounds like you want adults to prey on children. But
exactly.
It's actually not as controversial as you think. For example, I think in the Netherlands, the age of consent is something like 12 or 14. So you're being treated like you're a terrible criminal, but that means the Dutch are terrible criminals as well.
Exactly.
So well, look, it is an arbitrary choice rather than based on like scientific evidence or something like that. So
I think it's completely fine if it's consensual.
Well,
yeah, definitely.
That's your opinion, and I hold different, and that's fine. But the point is, I mean, what age are you thinking should be the age of consent?
Wait, but like first I'd like to do the myth con.
Okay, so why, just get into this thing, because I'm curious. Why, I mean, what age would you think was appropriate to have an age?
I would say, like, it's all right to eliminate it entirely. And you might think like, whoa, that's scary because, now 5 years old would technically be legally allowed to have sex with adults.
Yeah.
The reason that's fine is because, 3 to 5-year-olds, if an adult has sex with them, they probably wouldn't be, wouldn't consent, certainly, sure. And they'd still be punished because there are still rape laws.
Right, yeah.
So if let's say somebody doesn't, footage of an adult having sex with a 5-year-old, it goes up on, and then like a judge sees it, he'll probably rule in favor that it's rape.
Yeah,
so,
that's only because the age of consent laws mandate that a 5-year-old is unable to consent. And so any sex with a 5-year-old is rape. So what age would you set the age of consent law? Because there would have to be some kind of... Because otherwise, why would it go to a judge? Why would a judge...
I don't think you need that little arbitrary line of age.
It is arbitrary, that's true.
Yeah, exactly.
So, in order to circumvent people questioning their backhanded, half-assed endorsements of fascist talking points about the Jewish question, skeptics, I don't know if this idea was recently invented to defend their new positions or if it already existed within their movement. Now, we all know about strawmanning, which is to take the shittiest version of your opponent's argument and then easily knock it down. It has a long history existing as a logical fallacy. It's well used within the general population. And apparently, the skeptics have come up with a version of strawmanning called Steelmanning. Now, this is horseshit. Steelmanning means that you give your opponent's ideas, and in this case specifically, the alt-right, specifically Nazis, so a massive benefit of the doubt. You frame their arguments as stronger than they are, or more supported than they are, which is convenient if you're trying to make money off of right-wing propaganda because all the arguments are weak and easy to knock down. So you really do them a favor by steelmanning, by creating an argument that's even stronger and more supported than the one that they've put forward. You've done their work for you. Even if you think you debunk it at the end or claim to debunk it at the end, you've done their job for them. You've already improved their arguments. They'll take those improvements to another situation, to a person who's less skeptical, less cynical, less critical of their position. And, you just kind of played mechanic for their rhetoric. You've played, devil's advocate to the point that you got the devil off. You shouldn't really be playing devil's advocate to the point that a guilty devil gets found not guilty. That's my problem. And it's all under this veneer. It's all placed under this veneer of reason and rationality that appeals to the intellectual vanity of idiots. As I examine the skeptics of YouTube, there seems to be a culture of smug. There's a lot of intellectually framed anti-intellectualism because strawmanning is a disingenuous logical fallacy. So steelmanning is like an evil twin. It's the same deal. It's like you're just being disingenuous in the other direction. And this makes sense because Nazis, fascists are known for arguing in bad faith. So in order to enhance their position, in order to puff up their ideas, you usually have to use embellishment. You usually have to create a better argument for them. This is seems like the moral mission or the political purpose of Sargon's second channel, The Thinkery, where he has alt-writers on. He had Amos Yee on, who is not an alt-writer, but is a advocate for pedophilia, and he plays mechanic. He takes your position, and again, he doesn't make it more valid. He doesn't make it mechanically a more sound argument. What Sargon does, and what a lot of people underneath him do, is they take the arguments of the alt-right and disguise them and wrap them in reasonable, rational language. That's sophistry. That's the fundamental function of sophists like Jordan B. Peterson, Sargon of Akkad, since the beginning of time, is to take unspeakable ideas and give them the veneer, the patina of reason, so that they can be implemented without question by existing liberals and sort of veil intolerant opinions under like a mask of tolerance. So no, steelmanning is not a valid means of engaging an argument, because you don't do your opponent's job for them. If you are against the JQ, if you are against the Jewish question, if you're against fascism, if you're against Hitler rehabilitation rhetoric, then you don't take the rhetoric of the Jewish question and make it even more socially acceptable. You don't soften the edges. You don't, even if you quote unquote plan to debunk it, which, particularly in Mouthy Buddha's videos and Sargon's videos, they don't debunk jack shit. They just go, listen, but it's not that bad, is it? It's not that bad, is it? It's very suppositional. It's very what about? And what's funny is you would never see these skeptics do this with creationists. If you want to see how very biased in favor of fascism and ethno-nationalism the skeptic, the Sargonite wing of the skeptic community is, you just need to look at when they used to deal with Christians. They didn't used to steelman Christian arguments. They didn't often have to strawman them, because it doesn't take... Look, man, atheism is under the fallacy that, because Richard Dawkins went into this thing once, I remember, of calling atheists brights. Instead of calling them atheists, like using slang, refer to atheist people as brights. This is related to the YouTube skeptic community and the idea that the revelation that there is no God is synonymous with intellect. That somehow you were intellectually superior because you realize there's no Santa Claus. You use basic logic and reason to realize that whatever, there's no Judeo-Christian God, there's no Abrahamic religion. There's a thing behind Abrahamic religion. It doesn't take any specifically, any human being who lives in this world long enough at least questions, if not totally surpasses the Santa Claus version of God. So no, being an atheist doesn't make you bright. It doesn't even make you particularly more reasonable than the average person. It makes you a normal grown adult who doesn't encounter the world through this fantastical frame. You know, so I'm really tired of this whole skeptics being the arbiters of reason, skeptics being the arbiters of intellect. Because I know plenty of stupid people that don't believe in God, and I know plenty of really intelligent, well-read people that do. And those well-read people don't spend their time in proving arguments for Nazis.